What's up, YouTube? Today we're looking at the Spring Cup once again, and we're taking a look at Shadow Tentacruel and Shadow Cacturne with Amoonguss as a safe swap. Now, the Tentacruel Cacturne core is actually really strong in this meta, and Cacturne with a shield advantage or energy advantage absolutely runs away with the game. What you're seeing down the list right now is even energy, even shield scenario, and that's not where Cacturne performs. But you'll see what I mean. Let's hop into some battles. Okay, right away we see a mirror lead. This team is pretty common, so we might run into some mirror teams. So let's see how we play it out. We are running Scald, and I want to at least fake like I'm running the Sludge Wave, so I actually build up to it. But then there's always the potential that they get the debuff, and then Sludge Wave does about as much damage as a Scald. So you'll see in future matches that I actually throw the Scald right as I get it. But in this first match, we are fortunate enough not to get the debuff. They make a pretty nice catch onto their Golisopod. But this Scald is actually valuable damage for us because now we can just come in with our Amoonguss and Astonish farm. They actually throw an alignment, which means an entire Astonish will go through, and that will do some pretty nice chip. And because of that, I'm able to overfarm just slightly, make it to a foul play. This foul play will be enough to KO from this range, and now we have kept all of our shields, and it is a Levani in the back. I thought I was on Sludge Bomb, which is why you see me go for a double resisted Grass Knot there, and I do in future matches switch it over to Sludge Bomb. So in the future, I will be on Sludge Bomb. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, it was kind of funny. But this is this shield situation we want to be in. We have a shield advantage. Their fast move is resisted, which means they can't really do anything about this matchup. We make a really nice catch of a Scald onto our Tentacruel. And then now we can just Sucker Punch, farm down the Tentacruel, and now we'll be able to Sucker Punch, farm down the Levani, and we will be able to take this win. All we have to do is shield this up. A double super effective X-Scissor would hurt, but they actually go for a resisted Leaf Blade instead. But that still would have KO'd from that range, but we do take the win. Another mirror lead in the next match. Yeah, you kind of get the picture of this cup. It's pretty brutal. If you guys are playing it, like, I mean, kudos to you. This cup sucks. I don't know. But yeah, Scald on Scald here. It looks like it was a CMP, so they're probably running Scald as well. It kind of is a luck matchup because it really comes down to that 30% debuff chance, and we don't get it. This time I anticipate the catch, so I actually go for a acid spray, and it connects, and now that means our Sucker Punches are going to do even more damage, and their Astonishes are resisted. I think they only farmed up to a foul play here, so I just let it go, and they did. And even though that's resisted, it does pretty big damage. It's also non-stab, which is crazy. But we do get the full farm down, and we're able to keep switch. Now I'm able to go for a Tentacruel and fast move deny my opponent, because if I'm going to get it, now they're going to get it. But they are actually going to throw right away. At this point, I'm fine with letting the Cacturne go. Acid Spray actually KOs from this range. I come in with Amoonguss, and it is their own Cacturne in the back, so literally identical teams. But unfortunately for my opponent, I'm better than them, so that they're going to have to kind of take that into account in this. And unfortunately, I've got 2 shield. They go for a Trailblaze on the first because they need to boost their Sucker Punches. They're not going to get the farm down, so they're forced to throw again, but that actually lets me get the farm down, and now I'm at back-to-back foul plays. They've only got 1 shield remaining, and they're in the red. So here comes the first, here comes the second. They've got no shields remaining. This foul play will be enough to KO the Tentacruel, and we're able to take that win. Game 3, here we go. Amoonguss on the lead. Okay, so this is a pretty neutral matchup as far as it goes, but I don't mind being the Tentacruel here, especially when you can catch a potential Grass Knot onto your Amoonguss, which is double resisted. So that does absolutely nothing. They are over farming a little bit here, so I'm just gonna go for a foul play and maybe force a shield decision, but they actually just let that go. I'm fine with just letting this go as well. We've seen the Grass Knot. There's no way they're on Grass Knot and foul play, and at this point they actually come in with a Tentacruel, so they've got the Amoonguss Tentacruel core just like us. It is absolutely everywhere right now. We actually grab a shield, which is kind of surprising, but now we can just go for a Scald once we snipe with our own Tentacruel. And that does not get the debuff, but it does force them to throw their energy. And this is fine because we just need them to throw their energy. We'll actually be able to outpace here, so we can get to the Scald before they do. And this will be enough to probably just about KO or put them at like 1 HP, and it does put them at 1 HP. So we are able to get the KO. They have a a Ferrothorn in the back, and unfortunately for my opponent, we've got 2 shields and a Sucker Punch user, so they are getting fully farmed down. So my opponent resigns the match. Mirror leads again in game 4. This is rough, but we are expecting this because this team has been showcased by a couple of other content creators, and it is a very strong team. We actually get the debuff on the first, which is really nice, so we definitely are going to let this go, even if it is a nuke move. No, it is just the Scald, and they don't get the debuff, so I'm just going to throw the Scald on CMP, maybe grab the knockout here. And we do, which is really nice, and it's a Mungus in the back, and I instantly switch out here because I'm expecting that they have CACTURNE in the back, and I really need to draw that out, especially if they're running the same team. But they're actually staying in this matchup, and maybe that's because they're a little bit worried about my energy, and I did overfarm there, so perhaps they'll come in after I throw, but they don't, which actually allows me to get to a foul play, and this won't be enough to KO from this range. Actually it will, I lied, and it's actually a Leavanny in the back, and I am able to make it to a foul play before I am KO'd. At this point, I'm just going to come in with my Tentacruel, go for some super effective poison jabs, force them to throw their energy, and that's exactly what happens. They actually let one poison jab go through, which is also really nice. Leaf Blade is enough to KO, and now we have a Sucker Punch user with 2 shields. No way they're going to make it to 3 X Scissors. Even if they bait twice with Leaf Blades, it's not going to happen because they just dumped energy on Tentacruel. And as we can see, even if they're at the back-to-back here, that Sucker Punch will go through, and we are able to take that win. Okay, into game 5, we've got Tentacruel into Barbarical. So this is a bad lead, especially if they're on Mud Slap, and they are, so we instantly get out into our Amoonguss. They realize they're going to get outpaced, and they go for a foul play catch onto their Klefki, which is a really nice play, but I do hold back my energy. Unfortunately, every move that Amoonguss can learn, besides Astonish, is resisted here. But they play to a CMP tie. Foul play won't KO from this range. It is non-stab, so I'm just going to let this go. It doesn't KO. Here comes another single resisted Sludge Bomb, and we actually grab a shield in this matchup, which is pretty nice, because now we can just take a foul play onto our Tentacruel, go for a full farm down, and come out loaded with energy, and we can always use that Scald for later, especially if we're able to grab that last shield. So I'm instantly switching here, switching into my CACTURNE. Come on, opponent. And it is the Barbarical. This time I actually go for 1 in the move and a catch, which is dangerous because I'm gonna have to shield everything anyways, but it was a resisted Grass Knot. But they do have a Amoonguss in the back. I am going to go for a double resisted Trailblaze here because I'm looking really just to boost up my Sucker Punches, and even though they let that go, it doesn't matter because all we have to do now is shield this up and we can get a Sucker Punch farm down, come out loaded with energy. They are not on a move yet, so that means we can get to a Trailblaze, grab the last shield, and as soon as we grab the last shield, this game is pretty much over. We're going to go 1 and throw, potentially catching a Cross Chop here. Barbarical typically on Cross Chop and either Grass Knot or Stone Edge. They are on the Cross Chop, and we do catch that, which is resistant on the Tentacruel. We're able to make it to a Scald. That is enough to KO the Barbarical, and we're able to take the win. Wiggly on the lead. Okay, this is actually a great lead, and then they get out into a Dugong, which is rough for this team. I do go for a Drill Run catch on my CACTURNE, which is pretty like scary because if they baited with an Icy Wind, we were screwed. And we are just barely able to make it to a Trailblaze. It looks like that was a DRE moment too, which means this will KO. So we are able to grab a shield, and assuming they didn't bait the first drill run, I'm going to come in with my Tentacruel and just shield up, hope they do not bait again. And at this point, I'm just going to overfarm just a little bit, and then get off the Scald as late as I can. That last Ice Shard won't go through unless they shield, and we are able to get that KO. They have a Whiscash in the back, so this is going to be difficult to play out of because now my opponent has alignment. So I go for a Mud Bomb catch on my Amoonguss. I am unsuccessful. It is a Wiggly in the back, but fortunately, because I came in with my Cacturne against the Dugong, I still have a poison type available for me against this Wiggly. Astonishes are double resisted here, so we have no fast move pressure whatsoever. And they are going to be able to go for an Icy Wind here, but I see a Wind Con, and that Wind Con is connecting with the Sludge Bomb, coming in with the Tentacruel, getting a full farm down, but unfortunately my switch clock is not quite up, and they are going to get an entire charm farm down, which is really unfortunate. But then they give up switch, which is huge. I know Mud Bomb is going to be the hardest hitting move that my opponent has left, so I will shield this up, and I need to get out this Whiscash immediately. It looks like that was a CMP tie, Tentacruel winning the CMP. Scald is enough to KO the Whiscash, and now it is Poison Jabs versus Swift. They don't even throw, maybe they were on Disarming Voice and Icy Wind, but we are able to take that win. Into the next match, Ferrothorn. This is a bad lead. Two better answers in the back, so we're going to come in with Amoonguss, and they have a Tentacruel in the back. Tentacruel is not a hard response to Amoonguss. The only really hard response is like Mawile or Klefki, just because all of our charge moves are resisted there. And they actually overfarm, which means, or maybe they're just farming up to a Sludge Wave. So that means we can get to a second foul play, and then they throw an alignment. Maybe they're throwing an Acid Spray to lower my defense. No, it is the Sludge Wave, just a strange play from my opponent. But we actually make it to another foul play, like getting DRE again, I think. So maybe these DRE moments were really helping me win these games, and that actually lets us flip switch, which is huge because now we can come in with Cacturne. Oh, we got one turn lag, which is unfortunate, but as long as we can correctly shield up flash cannons here, and they do full send it, which is massive. And at this point, I mean, even if Trailblaze, even though it's double resisted, if it connects, it's going to put them in Sucker Punch farm down range. Yeah, so my opponent does call the bait, which is nice, and then they make it to a Power Whip. But unfortunately for my opponent, they're about to get Sucker Punched into Oblivion, so they have to shield a Trailblaze now. And these Sucker Punches are doing so much damage. They do Rock Tomb to instantly debuff the attack that I just boosted up, but that is fine because now we can make it to another. Grab the last shield, catch the Rock Tomb onto our Tentacruel, just hoping and praying that our Cacturne is the win con. Can we get the full farm down? That would be huge. We do. And this actually will force them to throw their energy, or else we're going to get to a Scald. So my opponent just resigns the match. Fellow YouTuber potentially on the opponent's end here. They've got a mirror lead with the Tentacruel. They've got the nice shiny Tentacruel, and the first opponent to win CMP over our 5-attack Tentacruel. That's pretty crazy. And they get the Scald debuff on the first, which is unfortunate because that means our Scald will not do as much as theirs did. However, we also get the debuff, and then we clear it instantly with our Amoonguss. They're not throwing here, which leads me to believe that they're farming up to either a Sludge Wave or a Blizzard, so I'm going to throw my energy and at least grab the shield before I go down. But we've grabbed the shield, their Tentacruel's on the red, so I'm comfortable letting this go. It's actually just a Sludge Wave, and it is a Tropius in the back, which is great because we really need to bait this out for our Cacturne. Our Cacturne absolutely does not want to see this. We've already grabbed a shield, and we've basically put 2 Pokemon in the red. The only unfortunate part here is we're going to get 1 turn lag, and Leaf Blade is probably enough to KO from this range. They actually go for an Aerial Ace, which is strange. You want to go for Leaf Blade in this matchup. It's definitely the better move. They attempt to go for the full farm down. They don't get it, and now we have Cacturne against the world, and it's an Amoonguss in the back, which is absolutely massive. Once again, we're just going to go for Trailblazes here. This is double resisted, but my opponent is forced to shield this up because the Sucker Punches are doing so much damage. I think it's over 5 damage per turn with Shadow and Stab. They do go for a resisted Grass Knot, potentially BMing here, or maybe understanding that a foul play wouldn't KO, so needing to full send. And Trailblaze is enough to KO, boost our Sucker Punches to KO the Tentacruel, and we are able to take that win. Amoonguss on the lead in the next match. Once again, this is a mirror lead. They come in with or not a mirror lead, but a neutral lead. They come in with their own Tentacruel, which means they're going to be half a turn or 1 turn behind because of switch, which means we can outpace to a Scald, chip with a Scald, and now align our own Amoonguss. So same exact team, just flipped so far. So we'll see what is in the back. Potentially a double poison, or they're already double poison, so maybe another water in the back could be a potential read. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to get the full, oh no, we are just barely going to get the full farm down. Living on 1 HP, the the IVs coming in clutch there. We are able to get to a sludge bomb and deny their fast move, which means we also get to a foul play, which really sucks for my opponent, but it happens to me every game, so may as well do it back to my opponents. And we actually grab a shield, which is nice. And now I'm going to come in with CACTURNE because I can align here. I will shield anything up because I am scared of sludge bombs. And they do full send the sludge bomb, but now we can just fully farm. They've got another water in the back. It is Jellicent, but we have an energy lead, and these sucker punches are eating away at the Jellicent's HP. Oh my god, they've only just now made it to a surf, and they're already in the yellow from pure fast move damage. And I can actually get the full farm down of my opponent, come out with a move loaded, boosted. My opponent knows it's going to KO, so they just resign the match. Into the last match of the video, we have a terrible lead in Jellicent. Everything is walled, so we come in with our Amoonguss and we bait out a Weezing. The Weezing does go for a charge move pretty much as soon as they get it, which is okay. It is the sludge. It looks like 2 sludges will not KO, even with the fairy wind damage, so that is good knowledge to know. We are able to get to a sludge bomb and grab a shield, so we are already in a great position. CACTURNE has a shield advantage, and we've baited out one of its hard answers. So this is the exact situation we want to be in. They actually bait with a brutal swing instead of trying to KO with a sludge bomb or a sludge, maybe understanding that one sludge would not KO. And that allows us to grab a second shield from my opponent, which is absolutely nuts. Here comes another brutal swing. Now we can just come in with Tentacool. We can get 1 turn lag. We can take any brutal swings here. We're not too worried about it. And then we can just go for the full farm down. Once again, they're going to make it to another brutal swing. They would have made it to this move either way, whether I got 1 turn or not. So that's fine. And now we can just come in with CACTURNE. We've got a 2 shield advantage, which is huge. They have a really hard answer in Mawile in the back, but guess what, opponent? Here comes a Shadow Dynamic Punch. It's non-stab, but it still puts them at 1 HP because they are the non-shadow. But they do go for a charge move there, which means I can live it. I can make it to another move. All I have to do is shield this up. They're not going to be able to hex farm me down. Here comes a surf. They do bait, but here comes a super effective Trailblaze for my opponent. This will be more than enough to KO the Jellicent, and we are able to take that win on the back of a Shadow CACTURNE sweep. So we are able to take that win, and that is going to wrap up the video. Yeah, Shadow CACTURNE is an absolute beast in this meta, especially when it's given a shield or energy advantage, especially when it's given both. You saw it absolutely ran away with games on the back of Shadow Tentacool, able to grab shields or do fast move pressure as well. And then Amoonguss as a great neutral safe swap, which doesn't have too many hard answers in this meta. And baiting out its answers are always the answers to CACTURNE as well. So definitely a super strong pair there. But yeah, that's going to be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.